Kenny Matthews here with Balls to the Wall, episode number 40. My co-host normally with me, Billy Martin Jr., is kind of busy. He's a sports agent for baseball players, so let's say he's in contract negotiations right now for several baseball prospects, so good luck to him. But my main man, my filling guy coming here, my OU DNA brother, Tarrance Johnson. Appreciate you coming on, man, here last minute, man. How are you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. Thanks for bringing me on. You know, I need to dust off some rust, what they would say. Football season coming around and everything's been going on.
It's kind of nice to talk a little bit beforehand, you know, to kind of shake off those cobwebs, you know, for a while. It's not bad. I had a few things this summer to do, so I've kind of kept it rolling a little bit. But, yeah, it's about to be full-fledged. About 3 weeks from today, we'll be at somebody's football stadium here and just in the Metroplex doing some high school football. Who would ever thought, huh?
Oh, yeah. Somebody's sideline on a Friday night. I can't wait to get that therapy.
Yes, this is my brother. He works with me with FridayNightGlory.com. And so I do appreciate you being here. And we also appreciate everybody listening. And I know some people have asked if you can help us out. We'd like for you to subscribe to us on either Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, or Anchor. If you could, it's very important. If you can make a comment, that would be great. That's what helps us out on our end here. You can tell us we're great, tell us we suck. Doesn't matter, just a little comment. It can be an emoji. It can be the middle finger emoji, if that's what you think it is.
Balls to the wall.
But we appreciate your comments and anything that we'd like to bring to you guys. If you got some suggestions to help, this is your show. It's just a platform for us to kind of talk a little bit. So want to keep you guys interested. But Miss Tarrance, let's start with, the big ruling on Monday. Mr. Deshaun Watson, a man of 25 civil cases that's been against him. The ruling came down by the judge, Sue Robinson, a 6-game suspension, which, at the time I thought that was pretty light because it seemed like it was going to be at least a half a season at a minimum, or maybe a full season was going to be coming for Deshaun Watson. But he got off with a 6. Now, we did yesterday, the NFLP, they decided they are going to sanction against this to go back to try to get at least a year sentence on Deshaun Watson, which, if that's the case, Terrence, that would be 2 years of not playing football for him because he didn't play 1 minute last year. That's a lot of time to be away from the game at the highest level. Now, I know he's still young, but that's a lot of time to be off.
Yeah, I mean, and Cleveland pulled the trigger to give him 5 years, $230 million, not knowing, what was to come. But like they say, you're not guilty until you're proven. Guilty, but it's just kind of weird, NFL shooting for 6 games. They're going to come back. Roger Goodell, they're going to come back and try to get a whole year out. You got to appease some of the people that don't like what happened, what have you. But at the end of the day, Deshaun still paid. He got $44 million in the signing bonus. $46 million cash yearly. I don't know how that'll work if he don't play this season, but to have $44 million and might not even be able to play. Deshaun's smiling right now.
Well, he probably needed a little of that $44 million signing bonus to pay off all those civil cases. So
I wouldn't doubt it. They're going to need every bit of that $230.
It didn't stay in his bank account long, but the other thing I did find out, he's on that $1 million contract this year. Cleveland Browns kind of circumvented this suspension because they thought there was going to be a lengthy suspension anyway. So they're only giving him $1 million this year. Now, obviously, he got the $44 million signing bonus this summer, but it's only going to be now. He's only going to lose $333,000 of that. If it is just 6 games, and for a man that's got $44 million signing bonus, that's nothing, on the grand scheme of things. I do think that what the NFL does have a precedence here of they have their own code. So it doesn't have to be that you've actually committed a crime or felt guilty of of a crime in actual court. The NFL is different on that. They still can go on their own deal of being able to go out and try to put on a penalty over there. And if there's anything that Deshaun Watson has done, he's guilty of stupidity. To have,
Man,
25 cases
I mean,
against Tarrance.
it's like the more every week you hear a different person coming out, and then all but 24 settled. So you still have that one lingering,
Yes,
still trying to plead her case. So money bought whatever that was, but like, I don't know, why allegations are coming out of like that. I mean, even hear one allegation, there's like one after the other, like the other. You start to wonder, like, dang, do dude have a problem? Because things go on like this, and you hate to put that jacket on someone's back, but I don't think people wake up and be like, hey, I'm gonna tell on him. He did this, I'm gonna tell it, It's like,
Right.
open your eyes. In the NFL, they gotta stand on it. But some of them are not fair with them stipulations, like for Zeke Elliott, for example, get suspended. But they always rode the Cowboys. They put the salary cap in place for Jerry, because Jerry was making noise when he was trying to make them big Super Bowl runs. So different day, different time.
Yes, it is. And I have a feeling that Atlanta wide receiver Calvin Ridley somewhere is shaking his head. He places a $1,200 bet, on his phone last year, and
Exactly.
he loses the whole season.
Yeah.
Josh Gordon, he's lost 25 games due to hippie lettuce.
Yeah.
They got to be thinking, wait a minute, hold on a minute. He got 25.
Pick and choose. What Tom Brady get for destroying that phone?
Yes.
Nothing.
So it just seems like the weight of allegations or what is supposedly you may have done right or you did wrong or whatever may be the case, it seems like it's a little out of whack compared to what they've done in the past.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if maybe the NFL was shooting for the year suspension and thinking that it may get dropped down to half a year. Maybe that's why you kind of shoot high. You have that wiggle room in there. But anyway,
quality NFL, you gotta make it even across the board. They scream equality, and you got this lump-sided suspension thing going on.
And Terrence, the other thing is what is half the season now? You have 17 games. It's not like you could do half the season.
Half a quarter, half a half on one of them.
Does he play does he come in the second half of
you come in the second half and start your season. From there, they give you 8.5 games.
The funny thing, one thing about it is that the Browns put all their ducks in a pond on this deal here. You alienated a Baker Mayfield, who you gave the extension to last year, who now, you see him throwing passes in training camp here. He looks to be completely healthy now. I'm not saying Baker Mayfield is a great NFL quarterback, not even really saying he's good. He's just probably average quarterback right now from what his career has been. But you had that option there. And then you kind of bid it on Deshaun Watson when there was really not really other takers. And you gave that man $240 million guaranteed.
Sources when adding up, get the wrong information.
Gosh, I just didn't get that. I didn't get it from. So now we got a really good quarterback. You had a really average quarterback that can win you some football games. Now you don't have either one of them.
Have one now, not a damn nutter, like Mike Epps would say. Like that's crazy. They send Coop up there, like you revolving door for receivers. Like I don't know, what can the Cleveland Browns do? That was kind of crazy how they did Baker. You look at the organization, like you just don't oust your guy like that.
And it's an organization that's been desperate for a quarterback for multiple decades. A
lot of brown jersey quarterback somewhere.
Yeah,
we can just name them.
If you're trying to find a new, and the Browns have been trying to find a new Otto Graham now for over 50 years. That hasn't happened yet.
Good luck.
So maybe that's the reason why. I'm not quite sure, but it's strange. It's a strange land that we can live in here, where a person can get fined $333,000 and he's getting off easy. Compared to the financial situations they're going, it just drives me crazy a little bit. But I want to go to topic number 2, and this has been kind of in the news, obviously, lately. Here is the WNBA star Brittney Griner, who's been detained in a Russian jail since February. She pleaded guilty last week, and she was sentenced this week to 9 years in a Russian prison. Now, for me, I will speak this way first. I'm going to say I've seen articles said that she's been victimized and she's been a victim and all this. Terrence, there's not one plane that you and I can get on where we can carry hippie lettuce and think it's not legal. It doesn't matter if you're going to Colorado, which is legally, if you can sell it there legally, it doesn't matter. Now, that is horrific judgment on her part that you will allow now of Russian authorities to play with your life on the risk of marijuana. You know, we're not going to talk about if it should be legal, illegal, whatever. It's still illegal to travel with marijuana on a plane, Terrence. So, I mean, I don't get why you put yourself in that situation.
She had to be high getting on the plane to just pack, cartridges over there. She's been going over there since 2014. And, it was just like 1 gram of oil. It wasn't even the lettuce. It was the oil. But, you're in a foreign country. Their laws are very different. They was shooting for 10 years, but they gave her 9 years. They was asking for, I think it ended up being 9 years and 6 months. They really want the full flat 10.
9.5 years.
How they going to appeal it, or what the USA going to do, and all this back and forth with her. Oh, she don't like the country she did. You can't go out for that. But it's a serious situation. But she owned up to it. It probably was a mistake, like I said. Unless she's not got caught once taking oils over there, I'm sure it wasn't the first time. But it could have been just a mistake. She was stoned. It's in the bag. Oh man, freaked out.
Well, don't you have to be overly squeaky clean when you're going to a country that's at war? In another country at the time. I mean,
I would be right here.
Yeah, I mean, so don't you triple check your bag if you're kind of doing those kind of things on your own, whatever, making sure that this can't, I mean, you basically have taken control of your life and handed it to the Russian authorities now. And now they're playing
my bag.
Yeah.
When I get on plane, there ain't nothing in there. I'm just checking.
And now you're in this free-for-all with now negotiations now is political between Putin, it's political between Biden now on trying to exchange prisoners from both places. I mean, we've got, obviously we've got the fellow Paul Whelan, the Marine that's there, been there since 2020, unlawfully charged, it's in prison. So now Putin wants to do this exchange between Griner and Whelan for this Victor Buck guy. And I think the president's in a really bad spot here because the Victor Bout guy, he's here for 25 years because he was selling weapons to people who want to kill American citizens. So you're going to swap 2 people for this guy that you already know hates Americans. I don't know how you can do that, Terrence.
It ain't fair. Yeah, it's about the way of their drug laws with this 1 gram of cannabis oil. They called it smuggling drugs.
And think about this. Doesn't it set a precedence if you do this for anybody else that may travel the country now? What about if you go to Japan and they've got some hardened criminal here in the United States they want to be relieved? You're setting a pattern to me, I feel, that if you do this now, you're opening yourself up to everybody else doing it again.
How about we just stay over here in USA and see how that works out for them?
Yes, I think until we have that turmoil between Ukraine and Russia somehow fixed, I don't know if you can take that chance anymore of going out because, as somebody told me today, your laws in America are one thing, but you better know the laws of the foreign country that you're going to, and you better act accordingly because they're looking for you as bait to get back.
Well, I'm not going, so I won't be no bait. You find me in Oak Cliff, come over here. I mean, traveling is cool, but with so much going on, man, it's just crazy. You don't know. They pick you up, detain you for what? Don't even know you just because you're a U.S. citizen. You gotta be careful.
And I mean, I know she's made a ton of money over there playing overseas in Russia. I mean, I'm not trying to make light of that. I mean, because I know that supplements her income. I mean, I know the WNBA does not pay near as much as the international leagues do at this point in time. I know that I know an athlete's only got a short period of time to make that money, and I get that part of it too. I just not sure if the judgment in making that trip over there in that plane was the right thing to do. And I'm not going to get into the political side of it about the way she didn't want to stand up for the anthem and all that other stuff. That's for another platform. but it does seem
everybody had a
like
past or something that you want to bring up. She didn't do it. Well, we're in it now.
it
She
seems like
probably didn't do that. It was a mistake.
yeah, and it's ironic that you're asking the people that you're defacing the flag now to come help you for your freedom now.
Right.
It's
Like now
kind of
you need
ironic.
us. You're supposed to open with open arms. Welcome her with open arms. Love Father, love Father.
That's crazy. It's hard for me to get my
crazy.
hands. It's hard for me to get my hands right, but I do think I will go on record that 9.5 years for some marijuana oil, that's some bull. I mean,
we know that.
Some bull. I mean,
Texas don't even legalize it. There's some bull, but you got other states you can go and it's okay. Like, well, that's not really a drug. If one state legalized something you consider a drug, now you're making up your own laws.
And you're making up your sentences in spite because of your hatred towards the United States. That's where I think she is now. If you want to say she's a victim on that,
she
absolutely.
Is. Yeah, it's definitely.
Absolutely.
She's been coming to y'all country since 2014, and you want to make an example all of a sudden.
Putin has been losing his mind a little bit over there, so I will say that's maybe the reason why. But still, I do feel badly for her because 9.5 years is not. And parents, 9.5 years in an American prison where you are from that country seems unreal. I can't imagine what 9.5 years would be in a Russian.
9 seconds. Yeah. None of it.
That's crazy to me. Yeah. Well, we do appreciate you guys listening to us on Balls of the Wall, episode number 40. My man, Tarrance Johnson, filling in for my buddy, Billy Martin Jr. And we would love for you guys to subscribe to us on all the platforms, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, and Anchor. Appreciate if you drop us a little comment. That really goes a long way. We could try to streamline this, guys, for you guys. We want you to listen to us and enjoy this. Terrence, we had a couple of iconic deaths in the game of sports this past week. First, I'll start off with Bill Russell, the great center from University of San Francisco. 13 years, 11 championships for the Boston Celtics. 2 championships at the University of San Francisco. Yeah, I did say that. 2 NCAA championships at the University of San Francisco. Not Golden State. San Francisco. Him and Casey Jones were on the same team back during the day there in San Francisco. This guy, he brought the word defense to the center position that had never been there before. I mean, obviously his arch rival was Wilt Chamberlain, and nobody stopped Wilt Chamberlain from scoring, but he sure made it harder for Wilt Chamberlain.
11 titles.
Yes, he did. And in defense of Wilt, I mean, he always gets compared to Bill Russell because those two were the best at the game during that time. And I mean, and Bill Russell had a much better supporting cast during that time. I think one of the most underrated things about Bill Russell is he was a big activist back during the civil rights movement. Well, outspoken, yes, no question about all that, and outspoken in a very prejudiced city in Boston. I think a lot of people don't realize all the kind of crap that he took for being an outspoken Black man. And I mean, he was even active with that up into the late 2000s, last couple of years of his death. He got an award for it in 2010. I mean, this is a guy that put his money and his face to what he actually believed in. You got to applaud him for that.
Oh, yeah, he set the tone for basketball, period. Bill Russell, you can hear his name in rap songs of rap music we grew up on. Coached the Celtics to 2 championships back there. He just had championship pedigree all around him. Nobody could ever top Bill Russell. He was just smooth. Like you said, he was an activist. He had all his hair till now. You see how he kept his hair? Most of us these days, not to throw it to you, Kenny, I'm getting thin here too, but just to see a smooth, we call him smooth operator. He remind me like one of my OG uncles, a dad in the 70s, just that flow with the build and the style, the way he carried himself. And he balled out. 13 years, can't ask for more. 4-time rebound champion, like you say, he was a good defender. 5-time MVP, went to coach the Supersonics as well. So he coached a little bit in the, when he retired, not retired, but when he stepped down from the Celtics, that 13-year career. So it's going to be crazy to see it happen. Bill Russell, gone. Probably should be the face of the NBA. That Jerry West logo might need to be Bill Russell.
Well, another thing about Bill Russell, can you imagine having replaced the great Red Auerbach as the head coach? I mean, he talk about somebody being iconic in Boston. I mean, it doesn't get any better than Red Auerbach.
Yeah.
And you got to replace him, and you're dark skinned. There was the big thing back during the day is that the Boston fan was not gravitating to this, showing up to the Garden because they had black players on their team. So, I mean, he had a lot of things going against him for that Hall of Fame career. And I didn't think he really got fully accepted as a Boston, mortal until very late in his career. Probably when he was in the 70s is when he kind of was able to bury the hatchet a little bit with Boston fans. But I mean, you'll never see 11 championships in 13 years. Even the great Tom Brady.
No, you won't see it. Nope. He's the GOAT. Bill Russell's the GOAT.
It's one, and he goes down as, and I have, man, my list, he's number 3 in my all-time NBA players. I have Bill Russell there. I have Michael Jordan, and I have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I have him number 2. I have him, and I have Kareem number 3. And it was very hard to kind of go from Kareem and him. But, Russell was also a gold medal winner for the United States. God bless him. Rest in peace, Bill Russell. I mean, it was a long life. I don't remember Chance. Do you ever remember him when he used to do the games on TBS back in the day? He was
Smooth tall brother. I used to like, look at that smooth tall brother. It's Bill Russell.
It used to be funny to do that pregame and you'd see that big, great white beard that he had.
Just rock that goatee like so. He had all his hair up until he was 88 years old. Man, I wish I could be blessed to keep everything like that intact. That's really smooth. That was smooth.
Yeah, but yes, Bill Russell, man, rest in peace. You were a wonderful ambassador for so many different reasons, and Tarrance and I, we've had a better life because of activists like you, who were able to stick your neck out on the line and gave us an opportunity to do some things that he obviously grew up that he couldn't do. So, he's big on a lot of things on the life side, and he's definitely left his mark on the NBA side. So, and then also we had the guy I thought would never talk about. It just seemed like I kept thinking Vin would get to 150, and still be vibrant and tell his stories. But the great Vin Scully, baseball announcer, 67-year career, 66 years with the Dodgers. A record that will never be broken. Never be broken. Never. I mean, 66 years, 67 years in the industry. As far as just, when his send-off 5 years ago, he was just as sharp as attack as he was probably when he was in his mid-40s or in his late 30s. I say that Vin Scully is the best storyteller that was ever there behind the mic that would ever do this. I mean, Tarrance, you and I both kind of dabbled into the broadcasting side. It's a difficult job. Vin Scully made it look like it was the easiest thing to do in the whole wide world. And he had an incredible memory. He talks about things from the 40s, the 50s, as if it happened last week. And I knew that once he was going to go back, once he passed, that we were going to start reminiscing about some of the storytelling. And I mean, God bless his soul. I mean, he's a guy that also had to deal with losing 2 wives. He lost his first wife, I believe, in a car accident after 15 years. And then his second wife that he had of 35 plus years, whatever, she passed last January. So, I mean, I can't imagine going through that process too, having to bury your wives before. Here you are, 94 years old, and you've buried 2 wives. That's kind of tough. But I will just say this: Vin Scully, GOAT. There will never be another one. We'll always be measured to Vin Scully, and we will always fall short of getting to that threshold.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. That's like one of the greatest broadcasters, like you say, we grew up listening to. I mean, we were probably caught on later in our lives, but he's been doing it, before we was born, 67 long, good years, all the way to 94 years old. It's time for baseball. The favorite line that he always say, I'll never forget, just hearing that. Because sometimes it's like listening to him on the radio, and you think you got the old school radio where you have to turn the dial and just listen to some. He just remind me of like one of those play-by-play guys. So like you said, I always like play-by-play. You liked it. I jumped in the game doing play-by-play. I happened to have had Brad Sham, kind of talk to me and show me some love and some ropes, because he's one of the great broadcasters under Vern Lindquist. That was one, not to get off subject of being Scully, but it just shows you like they don't make them like that. Like you say, that threshold is going to be hard to break. MLB, NFL, he did a little bit of NFL too. PGA Tour, he already was inducted into the Hall of Fame in '82. And it's hard to top that when they speak of GOAT stuff. How they try to compare Jordan to other people. You can't put a broadcaster up against a broadcaster and try to compare that. That's some longevity. Rest in peace, Ben Scully and Bill Russell as well. Two big icons in the sports world that probably seen it all.
It was great. We used to hear about how great Ben Scully was, but you didn't get to hear him very much until the game of the week. On Saturdays, he would be with either with Joe Gargiola, one of those guys over there. And that's when you got to hear Ben Scully a little bit. Plus, as you said, I'm glad you alluded to that. He called some NFL games on CBS in the 70s there, in the late 70s and mid 70s too. So you got to hear him a little bit there. I would have loved to have kind of just had one maybe season where I used to go to bed listening to Houston Astro games, on my radio and be able to hear his voice at night. Yeah. That would have been nice just to be able to hear that. Never got around to doing that. But his delivery, his touch is, his admiration for people. I think that's what it was. Listening to all these MLB stars the last couple of days talk about him, they couldn't wait to go to Dodger Stadium for him to say his name when he got up to the plate. Yeah. I mean, that's just, to me, and almost brings back the human side of things when you're a little kid. Yeah. Almost like you're a little kid. Man, I can't wait to put on my YMCA jersey and go to the game. You couldn't wait for them to say, Kevin Millar, Willie Stargell, whatever may be the case. I mean, that to me, man, just tells more about the person Ben Scully than just his craft.
Oh, yeah. Just like I want to throw another name in there, was Bill Mercer. I used to watch the wrestling and try to mock what they was doing, record myself and run it back. It's just like, he's off the top rope, and just the old draw, southern draw. It's like, I like Bill Mercer. Bill Mercer was a good one. Bill
Mercer, he was at the Ice Bowl. Or they were calling him for the Cowboys back even then. I mean, he's another, excellent. I mean, talk about a long career, him and Frank Lieber. I mean, they've had
Frank Lieber, that's another good one.
I had to go through there. But yes, rest in peace, Ben and Bill Russell. You'll be missed. You definitely will never be forgotten, that's for sure. I mean, we always say we want to leave a mark on this earth before we go home. They left
definitely
one.
Left theirs.
They left one, no question.
Definitely left one. Everybody be like Bill and Ben.
Exactly.
Be nice, be good people.
Well, I do want to do my thumbs up and thumbs down here before we wrap up here tonight. And I want to go with the thumbs down because some 29 years ago, somebody liked to make a redo on the thought process of going out and beating up on an old man, because Robin Ventura thought about it for half a second and then charged him out against one Nolan Ryan and got about 6 lumps on his head after the fact. Over there. I know that Robin doesn't want to talk about it. I know people have been asking him to do interviews about that. He doesn't want to have anything to do with it. I know people have been watching the new Nolan Ryan documentary movie that came out. He talks about it a lot. I'm not going to give up what Nolan says in the movie because you need to see that. It's really good. But yes, the old man Nolan Ryan says, you know what, country style, this is how we're going to do it. I'm going to take you behind the woodshed and give you a whooping. Yeah. And that's what ended up happening. Terrence, I can remember watching this game live. I can remember just seeing my jaw drop and saying, what did I just witness?
Yeah, man, my granddad was watching that game. He loved baseball. All I seen was blood on the white jersey. I'm like, dang, Nolan put them things on him. You look, I forgot how I was then, but it's like, dang, this is new. Charge the man. We know not to charge the man, but Nolan said, like he put him in a Fritz Von Air headlock Just bottom of fist, just boom, 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 constantly. Like it looked like wrestling, basically.
It did at first, but I know they wasn't wrestling on his forehead though.
Oh no, that wasn't a fake blood capsule. That was real right there. That wasn't those wrestling capsules.
It's huge when it happened, but if you can still talking about it 29 years later, that's how big it is. It was.
Shirts everywhere. Yeah.
Talking about leaving your mark.
Nolan Ryan Express. Was that the year the Nolan Ryan Express was born, or was it before that?
Oh, that's great. And my thumbs up for the past week over here is people. It's baseball intensive, but I want to say this: you guys need to watch The Captain. That's on ESPN about Derek Jeter. It is a wonderful documentary. I mean, that Derek Jeter's been one of those most reserved people, spotlighted guys in New York City for decades. He really opens up about a lot of stuff. We finally get the inside of Derek Jeter a little bit, which was kind of nice. It wasn't just that same monotone media stuff that you give. Yeah, we played real hard. Got to play harder tomorrow. It was none of that. Opens up about the relationship between him and Alex Rodriguez, what I thought was very eye-opening. And plus those documentaries on ESPN, I haven't really seen a bad one. It's really, really good. I know it's a little long, but you guys need to catch The Captain. It's really good.
I need to get back into me some documentary watching. I haven't really turned the tube on too much.
That's because you're too busy. That's what it is, right? That's what we're gonna tell.
Try to be busy. Try to get in football shape for these sidelines. Ride the bike a little more, legs strong.
There you go. And I will want to. I normally just do one thumbs up, but I do want to do another one that I think that people may like. It's the story of Lyman Boston. He was the Minnesota Twin, California Angels player, great player in the early mid 70s. He's the only player to be murdered in the national and major MLB during the season. He was murdered back some 45 years ago in Gary, Indiana. It was a shot in the back of a car with 4 people in it because the Mr. Scott, the guy that shot, thought that Mr. Bostock Lyman Bostock had relations with his ex-wife. It is a great story. I don't think a lot of people know about it. This guy had a heck of a career going into that point. I believe it was about a 5-year career before he was murdered that night in Gary, Indiana. And it's done by Tom Rinaldi. And Tom Rinaldi. I think Tom Rinaldi's work is flawless at times. I think he's one of the best. Him and Jeremy Shapkin do documentaries and those kind of things. And it's always really good. You can listen to that on YouTube, Anchor, Rumble, the whole shooting match. All of those different formats, iTunes. It's really, really, really good. And it goes back and it talks to people that were on his team. Goes back and talks to the doctors when he came there into the emergency room. His ex-wife was on there. His widowed wife is on there. It's one of those, if you're going to make a road trip, throw it on in your car. It's perfect. Your road trip will seem easy because you'll find out about a lot of things about Lyman Bostock that you didn't know. I was a big fan of his back in the 70s. I've got his rookie card. So I kind of knew him pretty well, and I learned a lot more than I ever thought that I could about it. And they even talked to the guy that actually did it. He actually was able to plead insanity on it. Did not serve 1 day in jail. Did not serve any time for brutal murder. Yeah. I mean, it's really good, Terrence. So I would tell you, man, if you can get a chance to listen to that, guys, you'll be well rewarded on it. Terrence, man, I can't thank you enough, brother. I really appreciate it. We want to keep it short and simple, but man, I appreciate you coming in for my man, Billy Martin. Might have to have you come back next week just in case.
Hey, let me know. I need to warm up. It's warm-up season.
We'll talk some
football. Been a rough one for me.
We'll have some preseason football. I know that a lot of people do care about that. We got well into training camp now. I mean, it's August. I mean, it's hot as hell in Dallas, yes, but I mean, it's right around the corner. There's a lot of things that are going to be shaken out that we'll get into more in depth on. But man, again, Terrence, thank you for filling in at the 11th hour, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
And we
appreciate it anytime.
Thank you, man. And
How we rock it.
Yeah, we do want you guys to subscribe to us on Spotify, YouTube, Anchor, and Rumble with a comment. That would be greatly appreciated. Hey, give a comment if you like my man Terrance to be on here more often. Hey, bring it on.
Hey,
We like all those suggestions.
Sponsors welcome. We need some NIL.
Yes, we do.
NIL.
We need some sponsorship of NIL, or I'm going to the portal. What are they? One or the other?
I think our name image should be like pretty well.
Thank you guys for being with us. We'll be back next week with Balls on the Wall episode number 41. Thanks so much, man. We really appreciate you, man. Much love.